Hi everyone, it's Christine from Hollishandscreate. Welcome to 2026. This is January 18th, and it's been just a minute. It's been, I don't know, since the 1st of September, I think, since I actually filmed a FlossTube. And, you know, I just kind of hit a bit of a spell there. 2025 was a little rough for me. 2 surgeries. I did have my second knee replacement in November, which actually went better than the first knee replacement, but it's still a, you know, it's a big surgery, a lot of rehab, and I'm still working through physical therapy, but doing really well. And for those of you who have asked, thank you so much for sending your thoughts along. I appreciate that. You know, all the holidays, so, you know, clearly I don't need to address each holiday. Just a lot of life going on. And so I'm back. If I tried to go through, you know, all the things like I typically would, you know, on a monthly basis, we would be here till tomorrow. Nobody wants to see that kind of a marathon. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with finishes, and that way I can kind of go through the 2025 where I ended up with, you know, finishes and whips and things like that ending 2025, and then where I stand with what I'm going to work on for 2026. Maybe a little bit of just some fun haul, a couple of things, and I'm going to show a little bit of a, what I'm going to call like a minute in the shop. It'll be, you know, fairly quick, and I have a giveaway. So let's get right to it, okay? If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. I hope that you, I had one lady say, it's okay, we'll just watch reruns. Well, I don't think anybody wants to watch reruns, but I'm very glad that, you know, you'll return, and that you have returned, and that you reached out to make sure I was okay. I appreciate it. If you're someone who's new, who's wandered into my channel, this is a channel primarily about cross stitch. Today I'm going to show a little bit of crochet and maybe a little quilting, and hopefully you'll pick up some inspiration along the way and want to subscribe and come back and visit with me. I can't promise when exactly I'll be back, but I will try to be back sooner than later, and I'm hoping 2026 goes along a little smoother. So let's see. Where I had stopped and the finishes for September, October, November, December, I'll show you those first. Then I'm going to show a quick little reel of the prior finishes. I ended up with for 2025, I ended up with 22 finishes. So I was happy about that. But I think only like maybe 7 or 8 of them were finishes of prior whips, prior year's whips. So this year I'm trying to concentrate more on, you know, getting some of those whips finished, and I'll show you that when I get to the whips. Okay, so the first thing that I finished since the last time that, you know, we spoke was on my birthday start from last year that I shared with a couple of other friends, and Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. We did decide to leave off the alphabet, and so you'll see mine is just from the bottom of the house up. So I'll show you that real quick. And I've gone ahead and actually popped it into a frame that I had. It was like just an oak frame. And I think it turned out really nicely. I'm really very pleased with it. And there you go. So that is Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. That was my birthday start 2024. I didn't really do one for 2025. I don't know. I thought about it. It just didn't happen. The next thing that I had finished was a small that I wanted to do. It was a When Pumpkins Glow from Brenda Gervais of With Thy Needle and Thread. And again, this is my version. I just wanted to make it a little small. I love pumpkin head people, and she does such great pumpkin head people. So what I've done is I've cut a backing board, and I've stretched it and pinned it, and I'm going to put it on this board to finish it. And then I've been pulling out like different types of, and the reason it's not finished and mounted is because I haven't been 100% satisfied with the trims that I have to finish it with, you know, like around the edge. So I'm going to have to make a trip to Michael's or somewhere to see if I can find some kind of, maybe, I don't know, coordinating or autumnal looking, you know, finishing cord or something. I don't know. I mean, I thought, well, I could, you know, lay some large rickrack down and just put it on top so that the rickrack just shows scalloped. But I don't know. Nothing has just yet quite just spoken to me and said, oh, that's exactly how I want it finished. So it's in progress. But I wanted to show it to you because it was a finish. Let's see. The next thing. And this one... This was Sweater Weather, which came out towards the end of the year, 2025. Somewhere I've done something. Here's the chart. But I've done something with the cover page, so I can't really show you the chart. So let me just show you my quick little finish, and I'm going to borrow my little board just to put it on, because that way too it kind of shows you, you know, the size. I did this just in a couple of days, and I did this right after I had my surgery, when I was kind of mostly non-ambulatory in the first couple of days after. And I just think it's adorable. He's so cute. I need to get him finished and actually put up, because in January I feature snowmen in my house. But this was Sweater Weather, again by Brenda Gervais of With Thy Needle and Thread. And just a cute, cute little finish. We sold a ton of these in the shop. Okay, my next finish was a whip that we started, I believe, on the winter solstice in December of 23. And that was Winter Moon by Plum Street Samplers. This is one of my favorite of the 4 that she has released. I really think it's just so, I don't know, beautiful with the pinkish bricks, and really pretty. So Winter Moon, and I got it finished. Now, let's discuss the non-animal in the room. So with all of these, she has featured a rabbit or a hare, whatever you want to call him. Not all of them does she have a fox, but I left the fox in place down here in the snow by a tree, which I thought looked pretty normal. I took out the rabbit who was sitting on top of the roof. And I did, you know, post about this on Instagram and had a fairly mixed review. Some people were, you know, thought that you should have the rabbit, and some people were like, oh, they loved it without the rabbit. So I left the fox in, and I guess I just don't think I would have a rabbit sitting on top of my house. So I went ahead and just improvised filling in the moon and kind of rounded it off on the side. And this is how I finished it. So I love it. It's hanging in my house, so I think it's great. So beautiful. And I did stitch this on the called for Saltbush 40 count, and with all the called for threads. And I think pretty much everything I've shown you so far had all called for threads. I might have improvised if I was missing, you know, like a green or something. So anyway, so that's Winter Moon. I think it's beautiful. I love it. I have so much framing to do, y'all. It's crazy. Okay, and the last oh no, second to last finish that I had was my 25th of the month stitch. I started this on Christmas last year, so 2024. Now it's 2 years ago, right? And that was the Noel sampler. I had had this kitted for quite a long time and decided, you know what, I'm going to start picking some designs that I thought could be done in at least 11 one-night stitching sessions, being on the 25th, and then when I get to December, see if I can't get it finished. And that's what I did. So I had stitched, like I said, you know, once a month on the 25th, December through November. And then I think I finished it up in 4 nights in December to have it finished. I finished it somewhere mid-month. So this was Noel sampler. Again, I seem to have been on a little bit of a Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread kick. And here's my finish. And I stitched this on 40 count sugar cookie, which is a wabi sabi linen from Kitten Stitcher. So with her wabi sabis, she just, you know, it's whatever color comes out, they name it and sell it. So there's not 100% guarantee. I think the only one that they put out on a regular basis, and it's because it's been used in some charting, is Graham Cracker. So if you go to, I actually carry some of her wabi sabis, and then of course she obviously has them in her own shop. But I love it. I love that it's simple, but it's got that beautiful, you know, red house. I did use all the, and no, I used, this was DMC. So Noel sampler was my 25th of the month stitch. And I'm excited to show you what I picked for on December 25th of 2025 to finish by this next year. I'll show you that in just a few. Okay. So there were those finishes that I had not talked about from 2025 because I've been away for a bit. I forgot one. Santa's wreath. This was the last one, and this was another one. I think as I was ending the year and putting things away, I kind of put some things away without thinking about the fact I needed it for this video. So, but this was a finish. It's a Teresa Kogut pattern, Santa's wreath, and a friend of mine sent me a finish that she had seen on Instagram by Nicole from Nick Patterson 74. She and some friends, I think, did this. And so we immediately headed to Hobby Lobby, and I was able to find, excuse me, I was able to find several of these Joy, I don't know, what do you call them? Whatever they are. Joy. So it took a minute for me to figure out how to do the finish. If I was going to tell somebody, if you're going to stitch this, you know, in the future, and you want to put it into something like this, you might thin out, because this is on a 40 count, which is the called for, you might thin out the wreaths because the O is not quite round enough if you want to finish it like this. And there's the holly leaf fabric. I just happen to have some in my stash I put on the back, and it's just kind of pushed into there. You know, if I really pushed, I could get it back out if I wanted to. But I just thought that was just most adorable, and a shout out to Nick Patterson 74 for her fantastic finishing idea. Okay, there we go. So now, so those are the ones that I finished. I'll run the reel now, and you can see the things that I finished earlier in 2025 that I had spoken about. These were the things that I had finished since I last spoke to you. So, you know, if you already saw me talk about those, zip right through. If you didn't, maybe there's something that you'll get to see that you didn't see before. So here you go. Enjoy. Thank you. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll just be moving right along. So I'm just going to quick show you a few fun things that I was able to get. I belong to Tammy Black's from Scattered Seed Samplers, her club. And this was a sweet one that came. Seeds of Hope Pin Keep. I love that. So, and look how she does her kits. So nice. So when you get one of these, it's, you know, a full kit. So you can join her club if you like. She does them through Etsy, so which is where her shop is. So I thought I'd show you that real quick. So one thing that I did purchase from Shabby Fabrics was this quilt kit. I absolutely love it. The finished size is 56 by 56, so it can be a nice wall hanging. It's called a Sweet Water. It features Sweet Water by Emmett and Ivy. I thought they had a name. Oh, they call it the Twinkle quilt. So I did buy this. It came in this really super nice box. It includes everything. Just really nice. I want to try to get back into doing some quilting. I've got several quilt whips that need to be finished as much as my cross stitch whips. So, oh, and then that came with this beautiful kind of a newsprint style backing. So I love that. So again, Emmett and Ivy by Moda. Okay, and let's see, two quick little fun purchases. I do collect mini machines, little mini sewing machines. So I got this really cool baby brother, and I just got this like about 10 days ago. I haven't even cleaned it up yet. Isn't that cute? I just love these. And these are, most of these are all, they work if you really wanted to use it. Isn't that neat? I love that it's got that blue shiny look to it, because my mom's sewing machine that I grew up, you know, she didn't really use it much because she didn't sew much. She used to always say she was lucky to be able to sew a straight line, but it's the machine I learned on was a Morse machine, M-O-R-S-E. But it was this blue, this type of finish. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, I got to have that. So it's gonna, I got to work it into my shelves somewhere. And then in the same booth at this little antique place was this old one. It's a Vulcan made in England. And it's in a little bit of a rougher shape, but the red I just thought was really cool. So, and again, you know, still works. So I thought that was really cool too. So I just thought I would show those. They're just some quick, fun, you know, little purchases that are you know, stitching, needlework related. So just thought I'd share those. Okay, let's talk about, well, I want to talk, I'm going to do my shop minute real quick now, and then we'll go into my whips and plans, and I have a giveaway, and then we'll speed on through here. So one of the things I want to talk about, because I get this question quite a lot, and let me get a board here available so that I can kind of put this paper up against this board, and it'll be easier. One of the things that I get confusion through the shop quite often, or questions about, has to do with a yard. And when you say, you know, like a fat anything, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. And so I kind of drew this up, and I hope this is helpful. For some of you, you already know this, and that's fine. You can zip on past if you like. But there's a lot, I get this quite often, at least a couple times a week. We sell our linen based on fat 1/8 cutting, okay? So if this is your full yard, this whole piece of paper, full yard. So typically, you know, 36 inches, though that's not 100%, especially with newer dyers. Sometimes they will cut their yard at 36 inches, not allowing for shrinkage, and then what they send you is a yard that's actually 35 inches. So sometimes I'll hear people, well, a yard's 36 inches. Well, not always, okay? They're calling it a yard, but it's not. Same thing with the long side. It can be anywhere from 52 to 55 inches. I won't call out all the dyers, but certain dyers are always going to be on the 52 to 53 inch side. Some dyers are 56, 57. It just kind of depends. Most typically hit right around that 54, 55 inch mark, okay? So when we divide that in half, you're dividing it in half this way, so that you have about a 26 to 27 inch here, and a 17 to 80 and 18 inch here. So you see that this is the way we're going to split it, okay? And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 quarters makes the whole, so there's your fat quarter, which typically is 17 by 27 most of the time. So when I list them at 17 by 27. If you get a piece that's larger, then that's great, because we're still going to do it in the same cut, hoping to be able to give you a piece that's bigger, because, you know, that's great, right? So then once you've got your fat quarter cut to do a fat 1/8, you're going to cut it down here, and then that's going to give you your 13 by 17, 13 by 18, you know, depending upon how that original yard started. So where a lot of confusion comes in for some people is they think, okay, if I order a quantity of 3, it's going to grow like this, right? That's not the way it is, because when you're cutting, you got to think of your fractions. And your fractions are, this would be 1 piece, this would be 2 piece, so it goes to a fat quarter. A 3rd piece would be like this, added on. So you'd have a piece that's in the shape of an L. So typically if someone orders 3, they're going to get a fat quarter and a fat 1/8. They're going to get 2 pieces. I hope that makes sense, because you're not going to cut like 3 this way, because then you've got, you know, if somebody orders a fat 1/2, you've already cut into the 1/2. So again, you're left with an L. So we cut to order. We don't, you know, I don't pre-cut them into fat quarters or pre-cut them. I could pre-cut into fat 1/2s, but then occasionally you get somebody who orders a full yard and they don't want, you know, the 2 halves. We try to always give you the largest piece that we can. So when you order 1, That's 1 fat eighth. You order 2, put 2 in as your quantity, we're going to send you a fat quarter. If you put in 4, we're going to send you a fat half. And if you put in 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you get the whole yard. And I hope that makes sense. It's fractions. You have to think about your fractions. And, you know, most of us didn't really like fractions, right, in school. But this is the way it kind of works when you're working with that term fat. Fat yard, fat half, fat quarter, fat eighth. Okay. And I hope that helps. I hope it helps. Okay. Real quickly, just wanted to talk about a couple of things. We did just get in Cecilia Turner from Heart in Hand, her 2026 Collector's Heart. Look at that. And that appeals to the Quaker lovers in all of us as well. Be true to your heart. Very sweet. Comes with fabric and the threads. This is Cottage Garden, I believe. Yeah, Cottage Garden threads from Australia. So beautiful. And just one other thing that we did get in, and I have sold through and have a second order that's in the shop now from Reflect a Soie, the very popular Leah Letourneau. I'm not sure how you say it, but we have charts only, or Isabella made beautiful little thread cards with all of the Avera Soie Soie silks. So all the silks are carded and everything is prepped for this absolutely beautiful, stunning design for Leah. So I just wanted to let you know the second batch of those is in, if anybody's interested. And then the last thing is just kind of quick talk about for the 250th, I'll butcher what it's called, quinticentennial or something like that. Mirabilia decided to do a limited re-release of Queen of Freedom and Our Lady of the Flag. And each shop was limited to 25 of each chart, 25 embellishment packs for each chart. I don't list for immediate sale. I will take a reservation list or a pre-order list, something like that, because I just kind of have learned from my past experience, this is my 9th year in business, that when you take that money and then there potentially is an issue or a major delay or something goes on and you end up without that product, you've got somebody who has, you know, waited however long for their item that they paid for. Technically in the online world, you're supposed to have your product out within a certain stated amount of time. And when you can't 100% guarantee that stated time, that's an issue. So I have a reservation list. I think I only have 1 spot left for the Our Lady of the Flag chart. I have a couple of spots left for the embellishment packs. And I have maybe 3 or 4 spots left for Queen of Freedom. Anything that's not already reserved when we receive them, which is supposed to be sometime in the next 2 weeks, then I will put those, up as a listing for sale. So very exciting. I already had the Lady of Flag pack, the embellishment pack and chart, but I did not have Queen of Freedom. And if you are someone like me who was kind of trolling the secondary market looking for them, I just wasn't willing to pay upwards of $200 to, even more. Sometimes I saw them as high as $400 just for that Queen of Freedom chart. I mean, I loved it, but I don't think I loved it $400 worth. So anyway, when that came through, I was very excited. And like I said, there's just a couple of spots. So if you want to message me through the shop, then that's great. And I can add you till it's full and go from there. Very exciting. So that was the minute with the shop. All done with that. Okay, let's move on to whips and plans. I will say I made a list of all of my, excuse me, whips coming from prior years into 2026. And I was not a happy camper when I saw how many. So I really took a hard look at that list, and there were quite a few that just had, you know, a few stitches in that I think it was like chasing a squirrel kind of a thing. Oh, let's start that. And we started, and then I never really stitched it. So I really took a hard look, and I unkitted 17. But I'm so happy to have those threads back in. And project bags. I don't need to buy any more project bags because I just gave myself quite a few back. And I feel like it was manageable. Now, blessing sampler for January. I did stitch one last year, and I was very happy. I got it finished. I did Sally Spencer. This year, I had one picked, and I actually even put some stitches into the bottom, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling joy over this because I was feeling stress over the fact that I just started again something else. And so I stopped, I unkitted it, and I went to my whip list, and I thought, you know, I'm going to feel very blessed if I actually finish something that's been, you know, and I don't want to say hanging over my head because I love the stitching, but I just needed to derive my blessing from actually finish something that was already started. And so I pulled out The Good Housewife, Elizabeth Easton. And unfortunately, that's a really tiny picture, and I'm sorry, it's hard to see that. And it's an out-of-print chart. So I went to work. And let me just get a board out so I can put this on. And started stitching. And my goal is to finish this by the end of this month. And I think I'm going to be able to do that pretty easily. And here is where I am. So when I picked this back out at the beginning of December, I was to right here on this was all done. The house here was done, and just the urn. So this month I have stitched this little part of this flowers, put in the wording here, the alphabet here, finished this corner, the bird over, and now I'm ready to head on down. Now, I made a change. Elizabeth Easton's birthday was June 9th, 1780. My grandmother, who was my inspiration for all things handmade, and was just, I don't know, she was like my idol growing up. I spent hours and hours and hours with her, sitting in the sewing machine room, matching quilt blocks. She taught me to crochet. I have all of her sewing things because when she passed, my father and his brother, my uncle, called and said, you're the only one who, you know, shared all of this with her. They shared the product of her hands, but not the making and the teaching. And so I have all of her things. So I put in her name, Marcine T. Crockett, June 9th, and then 1915. So in the selvage, when it's framed, I'm going to write in, I've got some fabric ink, I'm going to write in adapted or borrowed from Elizabeth Easton, June 9th, 1780. But I just felt, I don't know, when I saw that it had the same birthday, I thought, you know what, I'm putting my grandmother's name in there. But I want to give, you know, credit where credit is due, that this was not my grandmother's sampler. So this is going to be my finish. I'm hoping to finish it up this week, actually. So Elizabeth Easton, adapted to Marcine Crockett. And I love it. The autumnal palette is my favorite. And these colors are very autumnal in nature. Makes me happy. So my next WIP that I attended summer school with the attic in August, and I'm sure everyone has seen by now that we all received this just beautiful design, America, from Plum Street Samplers for the 250th. I hope that you can see that. So I started mine, I don't remember when, maybe, I don't know, September, October. I'd have to go back through my calendar to actually look. I did sub out the fabric. It was a 36 count. Paulette always does hers on 36, and I usually stitch on 40 or 46. So I went to my stash and I pulled a piece of, I think that's a pretty good picture right there, Boston by Seraphim Fabrics. It's kind of a grayish blue. It's like a gray with a blue cast to it. And this is where I am. Just stitching, you know, a couple of days a month so far. I'll get a little more serious about it after I finish Elizabeth Easton. But the colors are beautiful. The house is a little fussy. The colors that look like a cream or whatever, that's actually two different colors, so you can't just get really cranking with one color because it switches colors. What's around the windows versus the mortar is two different DMC colors. But it's really beautiful, and now it's been released exclusively through the attic so that others can work on it and stitch on it and celebrate this milestone for our country. So the next one that I'm excited to show you that I picked for my 25th of the month stitch, and I have to say I'm kind of looking forward to the 25th, is right now, this was done by Teresa of Shakespeare's Peddler. It's called Season's Greetings, and it was done for a fall retreat at Silver Needle in Tulsa. And when I saw the pictures of it, I was like, oh, I love this, I love this. And so Teresa allowed the Silver Needle to go ahead and sell it through the shop to the general public, out, you know, outside of the retreat attendees. And, oh, I guess I don't have my colors on a ring. Okay, I have a whole pile of colors. Here is my start, and I did post this on my Instagram. I'm doing mine just a little different. Now, the greens are mostly the called for, so is the cream color, but I am changing up my reds. And I haven't gotten a whole list yet. Excuse me, goodness gracious, I'm sorry. I'm just going to take a quick little sip of water here. Okay. I just pulled a bunch. So I'm writing down as I'm using them, and as I get to where I have everything picked for each specific substitution, I will share that information. I did have a few people who asked for my colors, so I will share that as soon as I kind of get it all confirmed, okay? But it's just so beautiful. I really love this, and I just think that this is something that easily can be done with that limited time of stitching, the way that I'm stitching it. So I am keeping a little list here on the back that shows, like, you know, for that particular color, I'm switching it to this and that kind of thing. Because I pulled stuff from Color and Cotton, General Art, DMC, Classic Colorworks. So there's like quite a few. And I'm just, as I'm going, and a couple of things, you know, I've stitched it in and then I ended up pulling it back out because it didn't quite fit, you know, what I thought the way it would look. So sometimes that's just kind of the way you have to do it. Okay. And then the next one that I belong to, Sampler Guild of the Rockies. I'm a virtual Zoom member. And we have a challenge, a project challenge. And you have one that's about getting whips finished. And you pick, you know, however many you think that you can get finished in the plan year. It's Labor Day to Labor Day. You try to finish. If you don't, you owe $10. So I picked 2 this year. And the first one that I'm concentrating on to get finished is a whip that I started in 2020, and it's called the Contented Mind. It's from the Sampler Company, Brenda Keys. It is so hard to see the beauty of this sampler just from this picture. But she's a big girl, so I'm gonna shift some things around and put this on this board that I have and see if I can show it to you, because she's really beautiful and I've been able to get quite a lot of work done. I thought for a minute I might try to finish it by the end of 2025. That's what I thought. That's what I get for thinking, because that didn't happen. All right, let me try to kind of smooth this out so you can see it. And this is one of the few that I actually stitched the whole border, and did get to do the happy dance when it all met up. All right, can you see that? Woo! All right, so when I picked this up to really concentrate on it, I had the small alphabet here done, a few of these letters, and then kind of maybe, I think I had maybe half of this building done, none of this. I did have this. So I stitched all of this, finished the letters, the numbers and everything, and done all of this up here and this across. So, but it's beautiful. And this is all in DMC. I hope you can see that. I'll kind of maybe do this so you can kind of get an idea of the brilliance of the colors. It's really beautiful. And you may have seen me show this before if you've been a follower on my channel for a while. But this is one of the ones I'm committed to finishing this year. And for me personally, I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of February. Because then I have one more that I have to get done, or I got to pay up. So every year, if you follow me or if you haven't, one of the things I do is I stitch, I pick a project, and typically they have been a lot of the Rhode Island style samplers from Plum Street. She does beautiful historical type samplers, and I have picked one each year, and I start on Memorial Day and I finish by Labor Day. And I've done that 6 years, I think. This will be the 7th year. And so one of the other project challenges that we have for the Sampler Guild kind of fits right in with my summer stitching plan. And so I had picked 1776 Sampler from Teresa Kogut. That is one of the projects for the Patriotic Challenge, where you start something new and stitch it in that year, not a whip that you bring forward to try to finish. And so I'll start that one Memorial Day and hope to have it finished by Labor Day. So as soon as I get Contented Mind done, I have to bring out my other one. I'll show you that when I get to that, and then get that finished. And hopefully my goal is to have both of those, the UFO challenges, done by Memorial Day, so that when I start my Patriotic Challenge, I can get that one finished. Now, if you don't finish that one, you don't have to pay. But then you could put it on for the next year as your UFO challenge. But the goal for me every year, every summer, is to start at Memorial Day and finish by Labor Day. Okay. So I did have one start that I had already made plans with a stitching friend to start on the 1st of January. We were going to start in October for the solstice. And you might know where I'm headed with this. But it didn't release right in time, and we both were like, you know, we have things that we need to kind of finish, and so we decided to start January 1st, and that is Autumn Moon. And so if I would have done the new Blessing sampler, I would have been starting 2 things on January 1st, and I thought, oh, I just can't keep starting and starting. So here's the beautiful Autumn Moon. This is the 4th and final of the season series. Now, she's got some other plans, I think, to do like Halloween moon and, you know, that kind of thing. Holiday specific, but, and she's got like Christmas mini moon, you know, some of those, Salem mini moon, but the spring, summer, autumn, and winter are finished. And this is the final with Autumn Moon. It's beautiful. And I have it in my gorgeous Starry Owl Stitchery bag from Tara. She does beautiful bags, sells them, or advertises them on Instagram, sells them through Etsy every Sunday. So I bought that bag with this moon in mind. And I'll just pin this on real quick and show you. So Kat and I are stitching this the 13th of the month, the 30th, 31st, depending upon if there's the 31st of the month, so last day of the month. And then we try to pick a Saturday or a Sunday. So this is January 1st. How many days of stitching? I don't know. I think it's 4, but let me look at my book of days. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, this is 4 days worth of stitching so far, and I'm stitching this on 40 count Furley by Needle and Flax, and I think the called for is Hog Bristle. I love it, and I'm using all the called for. It's so pretty. These were my 2 favorite out of the 4 that she did, though next I might do Summer Moon next after this one. I don't know. We'll see. I've got other whips that need to be finished before I just, you know, keep planning new starts. Okay, so let me put that one away. And speaking of my book of days, there's my 2026 book of days. And what I do in the back is, on these pages, I write, here's my whips. And then separate from my whips carried in, I've got 12, 25, 25, Christmas, you know, 25th month start season greetings. And it's hard to count it as a whip when you just started it a couple days before the year end. But, so there's my whip list. So, I have 2 that are starred because those are going to be finished for SGR. Elizabeth Easton, I'm hoping to have finished this month. And I'm just going to keep looking at this. Like Halloween Quaker, I want to get that one finished from Layla Studios. I mean, I think what I'm going to do is kind of the Dave Ramsey approach, right? You pick the one that you can get finished the quickest. But I also tend to be a bit of a seasonal stitcher, so I have to kind of, you know, in my mind think about that, because sometimes you pick up something and you just don't want to bother. Now, I was successful with the 25th of the month. It's Christmas stitching, but it's just one day. So anyway, and then over here, if you wanted to kind of know this is some plans, right? So I wrote for samplers. Elizabeth Easton, Eliza Hills, Contented Mind, Jane Cowie. Those are the first 4 I want to get finished. Then I've got a whole list of Summer and Patriotic, because that's, you know, kind of, an America 250 is on here. Live on Little, that's a goal for getting finished. 1776 sampler will be my, you know, my 2026, the Hollis, what's it called? My son named this thing. Hashtag Hollis Summer Holiday Sal. And I know that I've had several of you each year, you know, stitch along with me. You're welcome to again this year. Pledge of Allegiance I have started. I'd like to finish that one. So these are the ones that I'm pulling out of here and putting into kind of the seasons, because I do tend to be a seasonal stitcher. So I'm like looking at it and going, okay, good, that one's finished. So I have Autumn Moon on here because I want to get it finished. I want to get work on Halloween Quaker. I want to get it finished. Olga's Stocking, that's one that my stitching group, there's 5 of us, I think, who are stitching that one together. We need to get finished. Christmas and Winter, Season's Greetings is on here, and I really would like to get Christmas Garden finished. So then this one down here, different color, you say? Yes, that's because it's crochet. So I'm gonna quickly do a little aside, show you what I've been working on when I'm not stitching. I have been crocheting. Now I have had in the past issues with my right elbow with a repetitive motion injury. And it was when it actually was sustained crocheting. I was working on a graduation gift for my daughter's high school boyfriend at the time, who they were together for quite a long time. He went to Penn State, so I had picked a beautiful blue and white pattern to stitch a big quilt for him because he's a real tall boy. And every once in a while, I'll still get a message from him that he's all cuddled up in his Penn State blanket. But I kind of started it a little late and thought, oh gosh, I got to get this done. And I mean, I stitched worked on that thing like crazy. And I ended up sustaining a repetitive motion injury. I ended up at the doctor, the orthopod, and had to be in an arm brace for a while. And he said, you can't do that anymore. So I do crocheting, but I can't do it the way I used to. So I know when I can pick a night, like one night a week maybe, or one night every 10, 12 days, and I can crochet and then I'm good. So I just have to let those tendons in my elbow rest. But I've had some yarn that my oldest daughter, Brittany, who also crochets, bought for me forever. It's 100% Australian merino. It's an Italian yarn, and it's beautiful. And she got it for me forever ago. And I thought, you know what? I'm getting this out, and I'm going to do a granny square blanket. I have it in my Kitten Stitcher Advent box from 2 years ago, which this box was so pretty I didn't want to throw it out. But you know what? It's been the perfect thing to put all my crochet stuff in. So I just carry the box around, which is great. I love it. I have my daughter also, she got this at the Fiera, which is the makers, and it's a huge European market fair that's held in Milan each year in late November, early December. And so she got this from one of the makers booths, Yarn Bowl, and I just started doing granny squares, and it's using all the colors that she gave me. And so I started that, I don't know, maybe, I don't remember. I'd have to go back to my book again, sometime in December, I believe. Late November, early December. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these done so far. And this is actually a really deep green. And I know it looks kind of black. I don't know if there's anything I can do to make it not look black to you. But anyway, it's beautiful. The funny thing is, these colors are the exact colors that my daughter's house is done in. Like her granite is like a deep, deep green marble. It's not granite, it's actually quartz. So it's, got that veining, and the veining is in the kind of that cream color, or the whites running through the really dark green. And her wall in her living room is painted in kind of this darker, it's a little bit darker than this shade of green, one major wall. And then they have like a big, huge piece of cabinetry type furniture that's up against there. And then their floors are a pale gray. And I was like, as I'm working on this, I'm thinking, you know, I've seen these colors before. And I'm like, these are the colors in my daughter's house. So I'm going to finish this up, and I'm going to, when we go over this next time to Italy to see the babies, I'm going to take this over and just leave it behind. So anyway, so I've been working on that. That's a new project. So I decided in my book of days, I've got 3 crochet projects that need to be finished. This will be one, and I'll show you the other one. And this thing needs to be blocked because I got to figure out the size of this puppy. It's with this beautiful, I think, autumnal, dark looking yarn. And it's one that's done in the round. So this thing is, and it just gets bigger and bigger as you go. I think I have 9 more rounds to do, but I need to get it blocked and stretched, and so that I can kind of see it. But it's actually pretty good size. When I'm laying it out on while I'm crocheting now, it actually goes from, you know, like mid-abdomen all the way down past my knees. So another 9 rows, and it's going to be a decent size. So this is on my list to get this one finished. And I have one other that I failed to bring in here. I don't lose my hook, my stitch markers. But maybe I'll show that to you next time. I don't know that I'll get to it before the next video. I'm going to continue working on these 2 to try to get these 2 done, and go from there. So those are kind of my plans. Whips we talked about, haul, all that kind of good stuff. You know, I always seem like I get off here and think, oh, rats, I forgot something. Giveaway. Okay. I told you I was pulling whips out and getting rid of them. I have one, and since it's January, I thought, you know, maybe someone else would like to finish this one instead of just me pulling it apart. But this is Snowflake Serenade from Country Cottage Needleworks. Can you see that? And I believe I was stitching this. I know it's a piece of flax. I think it's 32 count. It could be 28 count. I didn't count it. And it's been in here forever and a day. But if somebody would like to finish it, and I have the Krynic that you use too to make it look sparkly when you're done. Now the Krynic is mixed in here as well, but it doesn't, it's not, I don't think you're supposed to mix it into every block, but you can do whatever you want, really. Let me put this behind to see if that makes it look a little nicer. There we go, maybe. So if someone would like to actually finish this, just message, and you will see that what I have done versus what, well, that's not being very successful. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm pinning that. I'm going to put that up above there, and you can kind of see I have done these bottom 2 blocks, but of course, you know, and I've done a little bit of this in here, but there's still all the greenery to be done around. And then the little house block, which says Winter Wonderland, and the jingle bells up here. So if you want to finish that, I will mail it to you. Just comment below Snowflake Serenade, and I'll pick somebody and send it to you. Okay, please don't say freebie or giveaway though in your comment. I want to make sure a stitcher actually gets this, not somebody who likes to get these things and resell them or whatever. And be 18, because I'm going to have to ask for your address. So make sure you're at least 18. Okay. I probably have forgotten a ton of things. I'm out of practice. I'm sorry. But I think that's it. Happy 2026. Stay healthy. Healthy in mind as well. It's hard to do what the kids call doom scrolling. I have not posted much on social media. I just, sometimes, I was trying to rehab my body as well. And part of that is keeping a positive outlook as much as possible. And, I'm not getting political or anything like that. I'm just, in general, just watching the news is rough. So no matter where you stand on anything. And so stay healthy. Stay warm if you're somewhere cold. Stay cool if you're somewhere hot. And I hope you enjoy this time of the year. It's a new year, fresh start. Okay. Take care. And until next time. Bye-bye.